All right, everybody, I am Nathan Williams. I am your sales consultant with Hand2Mind. Angie Meredith is with us. She is our education consultant to facilitate our trainings, and I'll have Angie talk a little bit about herself before we get going.
Okay, thanks, Nathan. Ryan, did you need to say anything before we get started?
Yeah, I'll just kind of pop out that this is a recorded session. So if you want to review this later, I will be putting this up on our math site. If you want to maybe share with someone who couldn't be here today, that would be great. And I'll get that up there probably by Monday, but also share with you via email so that you have the link to get there. So I think that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. I know after a long day of teaching, it's kind of hard to drag yourself to another session, but hopefully this will be invigorating. Hopefully you'll find this exciting. You'll be able to use the tools that you've been given and be able to practice them. So that's great. My name is Angie Meredith, and I am an educational consultant with the company Hand2Mind. I was a classroom teacher for 32 years in the state of Georgia. I taught from kindergarten all the way through 5th grade. And then I became a remedial teacher in the area of mathematics for grades 2 through 5. And then I became an instructional academic coach for 14 elementary schools, pre-K through 5th grade, and I also worked with middle grades teachers. So that's in a nutshell. So I do have educational background. I've been an educational consultant for the last 6 years for Hand2Mind. So I'm not sure if you even know who we are. We've been around well over 50 years providing supplemental materials to teachers, parents, students. We've been known by several names. We've changed our name quite a few times over the years. We were just ETA, Educational Teaching Aids, and then we became ETA Cuisinart when we purchased the Cuisinart company, and then ETA Hand2Mind, and we dropped all of that, and now we are just Hand2Mind. So all of our name has changed many, many times, but our philosophy has not changed. Our philosophy is always hands-on learning. Students learn best by doing. So I do want to start with this because I think as we look back at our education and how we were taught, it was probably totally different than the way we are teaching our students today. And one of the biggest challenges for teachers is trying to teach mathematics in ways that they did not experience as students. So it doesn't matter whether you're teaching face-to-face, whether you're teaching virtually, whether you're doing a hybrid approach, and even if you're doing one of those things now, we're not sure what we're going to be doing in the spring or the following year. But know that Hand2Mind wants to be your partner on this journey. We want to help you through all of your teaching experiences, no matter how it is that you're doing it. So I want you to think, because I do know that you are teaching virtually right now, I want to know about math manipulatives in your classroom and how you're going to use math manipulatives when you're working remotely with your students. What are some of your go-to manipulatives that you use? Which manipulatives do you can you not live without? Or maybe you're not familiar with using manipulatives. Throw that out there too. I need to know your background so that I can better serve you. Okay? So pop that in the chat. How are you going to use math manipulatives? Do you have a favorite? What can you not live without? Maybe you don't use math manipulatives. Maybe you're here to learn how to use them. Okay, number line for rounding, fraction strips, hundreds chart, counting collections, number line, base 10, fractions, fraction bars, the number line, and we are going to be using several of those today. Okay, excellent. Lots of fraction bars because we know fractions is a big, big concept starting in 3rd grade and all the way up. Excellent. All of the above. Okay, good. So what we're going to be looking at today is Braining Camp. So hopefully you have that pulled up on your computer. Braining Camp is a digital manipulative resource that teachers love, parents love, students love, because it's very, very easy to use, and it provides that hands-on experience in a digital way. And we know that you're going to need virtual support, and Braining Camp is going to fit that need. Okay, so when you go on to Braining Camp, we do have 16 different manipulatives. Notice that this is on a computer. It works with your computers, your Chromebooks, also works on an iPad. So whatever digital form you're using, okay, it should work for you. Now, there are a lot of benefits to using virtual manipulatives. Of course, I feel that we need virtual manipulatives to model with, but we also need those physical manipulatives in the students' hands. So hopefully you've worked on that as well. If you don't have physical manipulatives for your students and you're looking for physical manipulatives or kits, we do have that available, but we also have free printable manipulatives. So if you can't invest in individual manipulatives for each of your kids right now, maybe look into the printable manipulatives on our website. But virtual manipulatives are not consumable, so you're not going to run out, okay? They're clean. We don't have to sterilize them in any way. They're easy to manipulate. They're easy to move around. They're very convenient. I can access them on my computer, on my iPad. They're interactive, they're very visual, and they're very engaging. Okay, so let's go over to Braining Camp. Okay. And you should be able to access yours through Clever. It should be on your page with your apps. You should not need a password or a username at all. So when you first open up, you see all 16 manipulatives, from algebra tiles all the way to the XY coordinate board. Now, granted, for your grade levels, you're probably not going to use all of these, but you may have a child at home. You may have a young child at home. You might teach middle grade, you might teach 6th grade, but you might have a 1st grader at home. So you can use these manipulatives with your 1st grader as well. So you're probably going to be using algebra tiles if you're teaching 6th grade, base 10 blocks, grades 3 through 6, the clock, color tiles, Cuisenaire rods, fraction, circles and fraction tiles, geo boards, the 100 board, and several of you mentioned the 100 board, and we did some activities using the 100 board with the grades 1 and 2. Linking cubes we are going to use tonight for ratios. Number lines, a few of you said that you've worked already with the number lines, and we're going to do a little bit with the open number line tonight. And pattern blocks, place value discs, Reckon Ricks. Now, Reckon Ricks are used primary grades usually, but I do like the 100 bead Reckon Rick for 3rd grade as I'm looking at multiplication facts. That's a good one. 2 color counters and the XY coordinate board, XY coordinate grid. Now, all 16 manipulatives, okay, they do work pretty similarly. Okay, I'm going to move my video because it's kind of messing with the bandwidth here. And there we go. Slide that over. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to pull one manipulative up and just kind of give you an overview of where things are. Okay, so if you will, though, while we're doing that, pop into the chat and give me how familiar you are with Braining Camp so far. Have you already dived in? Have you already played with it, used it, or have you not touched it yet? So rate yourself from 0 to 5, your comfort level with Braining Camp so far. 0 to 5. Okay, so we have quite a range. Okay, that looks good. All right, so some of you have just looked at it and that's it. So what I want you to do is I want you to actually do it with me tonight. You can't mess it up, okay? And you can't learn without doing it, okay? We can't learn math without doing it. So I'm gonna just pull up color tiles. And the reason I pull up color tiles is I love them. Color tiles I use with kindergartners and I also use with 6th graders. And everywhere in between. There are so many things that you can do with color tiles. So as I'm looking at the page, once I've clicked, I see this huge white area. That's our work area. And we tried to make it as large as possible. Okay, over to the far left, I see this little guy with the brains. That's the Braining Camp guy. And I also see where it says apps. Both of these will take me back to the home page is whenever I need to go back to the home page. There is a tutorial. So if there's a particular manipulative you want to know a little bit more about, just click on the tutorial and it will give you a short little video of how it works, that particular manipulative. You can click on teaching ideas to give you some different ideas about a certain concept and which manipulative you can use in order to teach it. This share button is the one we're going to use tonight a lot. So I want you to make sure you find it. So what's going to happen is after you've designed something on your screen, you're going to click the share button and it's going to give you several options. You can either do a link or a code. You can copy your image. You can download your image. So you can do some pre-made screens ahead of time, which I've done for tonight. I keep saying tonight, sorry, I'm 3 hours ahead of you, so it's already evening here. We're going to be using a link or code, and we're going to be copying this code and putting it in the chat. Now with your students, you can make pre-made screens, and I've made some for tonight, and you can share these screens with students and have them work on those screens. These shared pages that these pre-made pages that you've made don't expire. So you can get together with your colleagues and work collaboratively and develop a set of codes of pre-made screens and share them with each other. And then you'll have them from year to year. And then the kids, you can share it as an assignment. Your kids can work on it. Then they can generate a code and send it back to you and you can see what they've done. Okay, so we're gonna try that tonight. In this tan area here, this is called a tray, and this is where your manipulatives will sit. So these are the color tiles, and so if I just click on them, it'll bring it over to my work area. If I just do a quick click, it will figure out that this is probably where you want it, and if you don't want it there, if you want to move it around, you just drag them. You can drag them to the screen or click. Let's say I didn't mean to have that green one there. I can delete one at a time, or I can delete by drawing a box around it, several at a time. Okay, going around down at the very bottom, some of the manipulatives have a background screen that you can give to your color tiles. Okay. Then there's accounts. So this, and again, that's only on some of them. This one says I have 4 yellow and 2 blue. This one has a sorting circle. Okay. I can make a Venn diagram by putting another one out. Okay. This one also has a 10 frame. So there's different tools over here depending on the manipulative. This one also has an open array that we're going to be using tonight that you can change the dimensions. Yes, the tutorial videos are very child friendly and very parent friendly. There are no words, it just kind of shows you some things. A shortcut to undo an action, not that I know of. And then here's a text box. So if I want to write something, 3 + 5, and I want them to model it in here, or I can use markers down at the bottom. Here's my marker. I can change the color of it. And I can change the point if I want to. And then I can just write. So depending on what I'm doing. Okay. I also have a highlighter. so I can highlight things. I have an eraser that will erase things that I've written with my marker or with my highlighter. I can erase just some things, or I can click it and clear anything that's been drawn with the marker or the highlighter. Okay, the text box was down here at the very bottom. There's a big T. I click that and then just type in whatever I want to type. Okay. Now, at the very bottom right are kind of some sub pages. So there's different mats. So we're just on a basic mat. I'm going to clear everything off of it. Down here, I can also go to a number line. And I can put my tiles down on a number line, or I can also go to a graph. Okay, the markers and eraser Aurora are straight down. You might have some things covering yours, kind of bring yours up a little bit. Straight down, there's a marker here, eraser and highlighter. To delete the circles, let's say I brought a 10 frame up and I decided I didn't want it. Okay, I'm going to highlight, I'm going to drag and highlight and then delete. Okay, same with, I'm assuming you mean if you put out a bunch of tiles, you can either clear all, or if there's only some things you want to clear, highlight around it and delete. Okay, so that's just a basic overview of what most of them look like. I'm going to go back to the home page. Now, remember when I showed you where the share button was, and I said it's going to generate a code, and you can copy that code. When you get that code, or when I get it from you, I'm going to put it down here on the home page where it says share code, and it's going to bring up the same page that you saved. Okay. All right. I am going to open a second Braining Camp just so we can share some things. And then let's get started. Hang on. Okay. All right. So the first thing we're going to get started with is we're going to look at arrays, and we're going to look at multiplication. So we're starting with some third grade skills. So what I want you to do is go ahead and go to color tiles again. You may or may not want a background. I'm not going to put a background, but I'm going to ask that you go down to the very bottom right. And what I want you to do is click this open array. Now this open array is going to allow me, as I pull this bottom corner, to make this array any size I want. Okay, so I just pull it and arrange it. And I'm going to make a 6 by 8 array. Now, once I make it, I can just click on it and drag it anywhere on my screen that I want. And I want you to fill it with color tiles. And the way that you do that is you just start with whatever color you want, and you can do a quick click. That's what's real nice with these arrays, is it immediately knows where you want it. Okay, so go ahead and fill yours up. Now, when we're working with third graders and fourth graders on working with multiplication facts, 6 times 8 is kind of a harder one for kids to do. So what we want them to think about is what facts, what known facts do they have in their head that would help them figure out what 6 times 8 is. So pop that into the chat. Yes, 5 times 8, because they know they're 5s, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight 5 times 8, and I'm going to change the color. I'm clicking toggle color. Now look. This is a little bit easier because they do know what 5 times 8 is. They know that 5 times 8 is 40. And then they just need 1 times 8, which is 8. So it's 48. Okay. Is there another multiplication fact? And what I want you to do is I want you to change your screen to show that different multiplication fact. Oh, sorry. So practice highlighting, toggling the color. I'm back to my original. Yes, I'll repeat how I did it. So for example, I think they know 3 times 8 and they can double it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. I'm just pressing it down and holding it until I get all the way around 3 times 8. Up at the very top, I'm going to toggle the color. So I'm going to change that to another color. Now I can easily see, this is called splitting an array. So now I can easily see the 3 times 8, which I know is 24. Probably should have done the text box. 3 times 8 is 24, and then I can double it. So what I want you to do is come up with another way that you could have split yours. So practice highlighting it and toggling the color. And then over to the side, you're going to click share once you have it on your screen. When you click share, this is going to pop up. Click link. And then you're just going to, you can either highlight it and copy paste, or I just hit this button for copying it. It's going to put it on my clipboard. I'm going to come over here to the chat box and I'm going to paste my code in. So you should see my code in your chat box. So you could actually copy my code, go back to your home page and put it in, and this exact screen would come up. So who thinks they are ready to try it, to share their code? So highlight and change, split your array a different way using known facts. Okay, so, whoo, that's fast, good. So Irma, let's look at Irma. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna highlight Irma's code. I'm gonna go to the main page and put it in. Excellent. So Irma has 4 times 8 up here is 32, and then she has 2 times 8 is 16 down here. Nice. Okay, let's see what Ryan has. So practice using your markers, practice using the text box. Ooh, nice. Ooh, he's got his out in the distributed property. So I've got, he split his vertically. So he's got here 6 times 5, which is 30, and 6 times 3, which is 18. And then he used his text box to write 6 times 8 is the same as 6 times 5 plus 6 times 3. Okay, let's see what David has. Nice. Okay, so David has he split his vertically as well. Okay, so he's got his 6 times 6, and then is 6 times 2? Okay. Let's try Dr. Navarro. Did I pronounce that correctly? Let's try. Woohoo, okay. So 6 times 7, this one's split horizontally. So 6 times 5. I'm sorry, 7 times 5, and then 7 times 1. Nice job. Okay, these look good. Okay, let's try a different one. Now let me show you what I meant when I said I saved some screens. I just went over to Google Docs. I'm not sure if you see this or not, but I went over to Google Docs and just put my codes in. I can keep these codes forever, okay? We're gonna do 7 times 9, which is another tricky multiplication fact. So all I'm gonna do is copy that code. And here's the assignment that I would have given the students. How can you split, and this is already written in, I've already saved it as an assignment. And so the kids can just take that code, put it in, I can share it. How can you split the 7 by 9 array using known facts? So now we're switching. Okay, here's a question 2. Adriana, I'll go over how to highlight it again. If you're looking at someone else's screen and they change it, will we be able to see the change? If they would they send me their code, it's going to pop up exactly like it was as soon as they copied it. So if they change it after they generated a code, no, we won't see their change. But I will show you that we can make some notes and changes on the ones where people share. So I'm going to show you that. How do you save it? You just click the share and it's going to generate that code. And then you're going to have to keep that code written somewhere or typed somewhere. You can put it in a Google Doc. You can put it in a Word document. You can put it in an Excel spreadsheet, whatever you want. And there's not a time limit that we know of. You can use it year after year. So go ahead and collaborate together with your teams and develop sets of codes for each one of yours. Okay, so 7 by 9. So now we're on a 7 by 9. Tell me how you are going to use known facts for this particular one. And this time, when you highlight it, either use a marker or a text box to show us what the product was. Oh, that's a good thought, Victor. Can you model that for us? And Victor, make sure you change your chat box to panelists and attendees. Victor says to show 7 times 10 and highlight so that we're showing that we're separate, that we're putting it out. Let's try that. Okay, so look, Victor, all we would have to do is drag that over. So here's 7 times 10, and then I would subtract the 7. Nice. I like that. Okay, so 7 times 9, who's got where they've highlighted, toggled the colors, and given us a way to use known facts for this. Distributed property. Did I put, oh, I'm sorry, did I not put my code in? Oh, I didn't put my code into the chat. I apologize. You guys were probably waiting on me to do that. Okay, so I put mine in the chat so you don't have to rebuild it. All you have to do is take my code, the 2168Q222 code, go to the home page, put it where it says share code, and you don't have to rebuild yours. You'll come up with exactly what I have on my screen, and then you can just highlight and toggle. Okay, let's see what Hannah has done. Nice. Ooh, 3 colors. So she's got 7 times 9, and she split hers into 3 different ones. She said, I can do 3 times 7, 3 times 7, 3 times 7, 21, 21, 21. And she's used her highlighter. Okay, this looks great. Looks great. Evelyn, you've got the whole link in, so I'm just going to use the last part of it for your code. Nice. Oh, you did 3 too. Okay, so I guess with that 9, it is much easier for us to think about that. Good. Let's see what David's got. These look good. Nice. Okay. So 6 times 6. Oh, this is the other one. Do the 9 times 7. See if you can get that one back up. See if you can find my code for that. Cindy, let's see what you got. Ooh, okay, good. So she's got 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 2 is 18. She added them up, 63. Nice. I like the colors that you guys chose too. Let's see what Dennis has. So we won't be able to do everybody's, but nice. So we have a 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 2 is 18 for a total of 63. These are great. Nice. Questions about the arrays, using the open array? Questions still about highlighting and toggling the colors so that you can, and see, if we had regular color tiles, we would have to actually, you know, use a straw or something to separate them or change the colors. And this is so visual, so visual. Let's do one more and then let's move on to another task. Good. Oh, use lots of text boxing. So we have a 5 times 9 here, and 2 times 9 is 18. Good. All right. So let's go back to your home page. Okay. And we're going to do what we call building rectangles. So we're going to think about fractions. So I have generated a sheet, a workable page. So the questions are already on it for the students. Build a rectangle of any size that is 1/2 blue. And how do you know that your rectangle is 1/2 blue? So I've put the code into the chat box, 46 SAY 4T2. All you have to do is copy it, go to your home page and put it in the share code, and then the directions will be there for you. I want you to build a rectangle any size that is 1/2 blue. And then I want you to tell me, how do you know that it's 1/2 blue? Any size at all. And then you can put your code in. So Vanessa has her code in. Let's see what she's got. So it can be any size as long as it is half blue. Here's Vanessa's. Equal numbers of blues and reds. Okay, so she's got a 6 by 2. So if you've got a rectangle that is different than hers, put yours into the chat box. If yours is different. Nice. Okay, so she's got a larger one, but it's still 1/2 blue. This is a concept that we work on with our students. Nice. 2 equal rows. Could we have used more than 2 colors? Nice. Oh, and you use the open array as well. Now, what I would suggest is to go ahead and fill it with another color, okay, so that it's completely filled. And notice that I took somebody else's work and I was able to work on it. Okay, Joan. Anybody build a rectangle with more than 2 colors, but it's half blue? Ooh, good one. Okay, notice, and this is something that kids will have to really look at, is this still half blue? Yes, because we still have equal parts. Ooh, cool. Okay, now, did anybody do it with more than 2 colors? That looks great. And then I got a question for you. Nice. And I like your open array. Equal amounts of blue and green. Equal amounts of blue and red. Okay. Now, I have a question for you, and this is what I would ask students. We saw rectangles of all different sizes, but you told me that all of them were half blue. So how could some of the rectangles have 12 blue and some of them have 6 blue and some of them have, 5 blue, but they're all still 1/2? Put that into the chat. How can all of those still be half blue, even though there were different amounts for different people? How could they all still be 1/2 blue? Nice, so yellow and half of a hole, because the holes can be different sizes. And that's where our standards are really very specific about that we need to work on the fact that the part is dependent upon the hole. Okay, it's based on the hole number, and those holes can change. Okay, so now let's try a different rectangle. You guys are building some great, oh, there we go with the 3 colors. So even though she's got 3 colors in here, it is still half blue. And the hole can be any size. Your work got erased before getting the link. Uh-oh. You must have hit clear all before you got your link. Uh-oh, clever looks get glitchy. Uh-oh. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my codes and I'm going to give you another assignment. and it's in the chat, the GTK one. Build at least 2 rectangles with these characteristics. I want your rectangle to be half red, 1/4 yellow, and 1/4 green. Now, when we did the blue, some of you chose 2 colors, some of you chose 3. You could have chosen all 4 as long as your rectangle was half blue. When you're building this one, and I want half red, half yellow, half green, will you be able to put some blue ones in? Yes or no? And why or why not? So build 2 different rectangles, but both of them need to be half red, 1/4 yellow, 1/4 green. And I put these directions, I put the code into the chat box. So all you have to do is highlight that code, copy and paste it onto your main page. You guys are going to be experts. And then try to build 2 different rectangles. Half red, 1/4 yellow, 1/4 green. Let's see what we come up with. Okay, let's see what Dennis has. Uh-oh, I think I got the wrong thing. Hang on. Good. Okay, so Dennis has 2 rectangles, half red, 1/4 yellow, 1/4 green. So he's got a small rectangle. He's got a square, which is a rectangle. And then he's got this nice long one. But it's still half red, 1/4 yellow, 1/4 green. Good. Paste your link, Cindy. Go back to the home page. I'm going to show you. I'm going to take somebody else's link that I'm copying. Go back to this home page, and down at the very bottom where it says share code, just paste it in there. Okay, here's 2 different rectangles here. I like how she put the red on the outside and the on both outsides, but it's still half red, 1/4 and 1/4. And this one kind of mirrors it on a smaller version. Good. Let's see what Sarah has. These look great. So Sarah went in and did and that is an easier way of building them, is to use that open array. So she did a 4x10 and a 2x4. Half red, 1/4 yellow, 1/4 green. Nice. Okay. Let's maybe do 1 or 2 more. And then let's move on to another task. You guys are good at this. Good. Half red, 1/4 yellow, 1/4 green. These look great. Who is having a question about where to paste it in? Cindy. Cindy, did you get it? Let's see what Constance has. Because I wanted to show you also. Ooh. She did 3 different ones. So she likes those open arrays, and these open arrays are really helpful because when you click, when you're building arrays, it's going to automatically put it into your open array. And then you can just toggle the colors, or you can change colors. All right, nice job. All right, questions about color tiles, making arrays, building rectangles? I think we got it. I'm going to move to a different manipulative and a different concept. Okay, you ready? All right, the next manipulative that I'm going to move to, see, color tiles is a pretty versatile manipulative. I use it, like I said, kindergarten, through elementary schools, through, I've even used them in algebra to build quadratic patterns. So color tiles can be used for lots of things. Adriana, you can save your codes wherever you would like. You can save them to, I saved mine to a Google Doc, and that way I can easily bring it up while I'm on Braining Camp. You can save it to a Word document. You can save it to a table, wherever you'd like to save your codes. Okay. All right, so the next manipulative we're going to look at are Cuisenaire rods. Cuisenaire rods are also very versatile. I use Cuisenaire rods from kindergarten all the way through algebra as well. So let me just show you what they are in case you're not familiar. Cuisenaire rods have been around since about the 1940s. They were developed by a music and math teacher named Mr. Cuisenaire. So Cuisenaire rods are located along the side. They have lengths that range from 1 centimeter all the way to 10 centimeters. And each color rod is 1 centimeter longer than the previous one. So I have from 1 all the way down to 10, which is the orange rod. Now there is a gray rod on the virtual ones, but there's not actually a gray rod, that in case you want to build a rod that's longer than the 10. Okay. You can also put the background, and I do like to use the background with Cuisenaire rods because anytime I'm working with Cuisenaire rods, I like to have centimeter grid paper available for students. Now, Cuisenaire rods are not marked in any way. That way you can change their values. Okay, I love to use them because of that. Now, on the virtual manipulatives though, we have it set down here. Remember, there are those different sub pages. I can change it so that I see the whole numbers on there. I can also change it so that I see decimals on there. That this is 1 whole, and so this is 9/10, 8/10, 7/10. I can also change it for letters, because if you're ever buying any commercial products that deal with Cuisenaire rods, they'll call them by their first letter of the color rod it is, except when you get down to, there are 2 greens. So G is for the light green. There's a D for dark green, but black, brown, and blue all begin with B. And so you'll see the letter that's the last letter in their name. And then usually the O is like a script O. You won't use those very much. I can also change it to fractions. And I can change, this is set to fractions when the orange is 1 whole. I could change it so that the green is 1 whole, and then their relationships change. If the green is 1 whole, then this is worth 5, 6, 4, 6, 3 sixths. But we're going to keep the 1 whole here for right now. I'm going to go back to basic. Okay, and here's my activity. Okay, the first activity we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and clear these out. Okay, the first activity we're going to do is dealing with multiplication facts. Okay, so what I want you to do is I just want you to drag a dark green rod to the center of your screen. And what I want you to do is make what we call 1 color trains. So in other words, I want you to find colors over here that you can put underneath this one and use only that color to match up. So for example, if I tried purple, that wouldn't work because I couldn't just use purple to match it up. I want the colors to be the same color. Tell me what you've come up with. What other color rod could you use that's the same color to match up to my dark green? So I was able to do 6 white rods. Okay, somebody said 2 light greens. Perfect. Anything else? 3 red. Good. Anything else? Now I can't use purple and red because I need them to all be the same color on that row. Are those all the matches I can make? Let's see if you had something done for us. Ah, you did. Yay. Okay. Now, the way that we're looking at it then is on this top one, I had 1 rod and it was the length of 6. So I had a 1 by 6. I had 6 rods that had a length of 1. So I'm building all my multiplication facts for that. I had 2 rods that had a length of 3. And I had 3 rods with a length of 2. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick a rod that is longer than the dark green. So either the black, the brown, the blue, or the orange. And I want you to build the multiplication facts, the factors for that particular rod. Okay. So I don't have a sheet for you. I didn't develop a sheet. I just want you to pick either black or brown or blue or orange and build the multiplication facts. And write them out to the side, either using your marker or using the text box. I'll pull this down a little bit. Now, if you're building them and you want to tell me what you've built, or once you've built them, just pick one of these. You don't have to do all of them. Pick one of them and build the multiplication facts, and then send us the code so we can see. Okay, Sarah, let's see what Sarah's got. Oops. Sarah did brown. She's got 1 by 8, 8 by 1, 4 by 2, and 2 by 4. So she had 4 different multiplication facts for hers. And I had 4 different ones for mine. So I'm wondering if there's going to be 4 for every one of them. So Ryan did 8 as well. Oh. Joan only got 3 for hers, so keep that in mind. Joan only has 3. She did 9 and only has 3. So 10, there's 4. Nicolette did 10 and there's 4 for that one. Aurora, so I need to know the difference between the ones that only got 3 and the ones that got 4. Here's another one with just the 3. This one's got 4. This one's got 4. This one's only got 3. Ah, so we said odd versus even. Let's see. I'm going to go back to mine. So we said odd versus even. So this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is an odd number and it only has 2. So I'm not sure that the odd and even is going to make that much difference. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm able to do can do 4 there, but with the blue ones, we only came up So I wonder if it has anything to do with odd and even. Ah, prime and composite. So, sorry, my internet just told me it was a little unstable. Okay, yes. After sending the link to the kids, can we still go back and edit the board? Now, I can't go back and edit my main board unless I make a new code. So I could make a new code once I've edited it. Once I've made the code, it's going to go back to whatever that original one was. Okay, so as we're looking at this, we had the 1 by 7 and 7 by 1. There were no other multiplication facts that we could come up with. So although it is an odd number, okay, it just had these 2 factors, okay? This is an excellent, excellent activity to do with prime and composite numbers. So as they're looking at different multiplication facts, you can even use this gray one now to work with larger numbers. I can work with 11, 12, 13, 14, all the way, however much I want to do. Okay, and I can work with building these multiplication facts and looking at factors for numbers. So that is a great use of the Cuisenaire rods. So now let's look at another use for Cuisenaire rods. Oh, it's thinking about it. All right. Now we're going to look at Cuisenaire rods again. What I want you to do is pull the orange rod over. I will give it a background. Okay. And I want you to find the rod that is equal to half the orange rod. And tell me why it's equal to half. Find the rod that is equal to half and put it in the chat box. What color do you think is equal to half the orange rod? Okay, why is it yellow? And what do we want kids to be thinking about? Why would, because, all right, because it's 5.5 of 10. Why else? You. Because 2 yellows make the orange. It takes 2 yellows to make the orange. That's where we get that fraction. Okay, it takes 2 equal parts, 2 of those, and I'm going to remove one of them now. Okay, I want to know other matches, other rods that would also show half. What other rods would also show half? Is there another set of rods that I could show a half? Okay, somebody said red and purple. So here's my purple, and red is half of purple because it takes 2 to make, takes 2 reds to make the purple, or the purple is twice as long as the red. What other matches for half? Brown and purple? Okay, because it takes 2 of the purple. What else? Dark green. Well, we're not going to do the gray because that's not really a true Cuisenaire rod. What other matches? Dark green and light green. Good. What else? White and red. What else? Light gray, Maria, can be any length you want it to be. You can stretch this out. We're not using that one right now, though. Any other matches for half? Okay, this is the reason I like to use Cuisenaire rods. Cuisenaire rods are not marked in any way like your color tiles are, or like your fraction tiles are. Okay. Kids have to actually manipulate them and see which ones, because like our rectangles, when we were building our rectangles with the color tiles, half is going to be determined by the whole. So this is, yellow is half of orange, but yellow is not half of the other ones, okay? Red is half of purple. Purple is half of brown. No, they can't, the grid lines can't be darkened. Okay. Now, what I want you to find are these were all 1/2. Which rods can you find that show the relationship of 1/3? Which rods show a relationship of 1/3? Blue and light green? And why is light green 1/3 of blue? Light green and blue, dark green and red. Yes, because it takes 3 of those to make that whole. Good. Red and dark green. Oh, light green and white. Okay. Now, I want you to look at these rods. When you have fraction tiles, they are clearly marked 1/2, 1/3, 1/4. When we're working with Cuisenaire rods, they're not marked. So over here, you told me that the white is a 1/2 piece. It's half of the red. But over here, you told me that it's a 1/3 piece, that it's 1/3 of the light green. Over here, you told me that the red was half of the purple. But over here, you told me that the red was half of the dark green. So how can that be? How can these colors represent different fractional parts? Depends on the whole. Excellent. Okay, so now I'm going to give you kind of a puzzle to solve. I'm going to give you a code. If light green is 1/3, which rod is a whole? And how would you figure it out? If light green is 1/3, which rod is a whole? And how do you know? Okay, so several of you said blue. How do you know that that's the whole? I don't have it marked as a whole. How do you know? Yes, because it equals 3 green. So we're just getting warmed up here. Okay, so that was your first puzzle. A little warm up. Now you ready? Let's try the next one. If dark green is 3/4, which rod is 1? If dark green is 3/4, which rod is 1? And how do you know? Dark green is 3/4. Which rod is 1? Okay, I'm getting several different answers. You got to be able to explain it to me. Anybody have a picture where they worked it on your screen? So my question, most of you now are putting brown. Now, most of your kids we want to think the way kids would think. Okay. Oh, these are good explanations. Ah, okay, good, good, good. Ooh, these are good. Yes. Good. Okay. So here's the 3/4. So the red could make the 3 and 4/4 is a whole. So that would be equal to the brown. Nice job. Nice job. Okay, let's go to another tool. You ready? This time we are going to go to the open number line. So we're going to go over here to number line. Remember I said that there are different subpages. So what I want you to do down at the very bottom, we're set on basic right now. I want you to go to open. So here's my open number line. We're going to do what's called some number strings for adding fractions. And we're going to use a strategy called over and adjust. I'm going to make 2 lines so you can see it at the same time. Okay. Okay, the first problem that we're going to work now, when you work, I'm not sure if you guys do number strings or not. I think number strings are an excellent way for kids to build strategies. But we're going to start with 6. I might not be able to do it on here. Hang on. I'm not going to do it on here. It's not going to give me the fractions. Okay, I want you to do 6 3/8 plus 2. So here's 6 3/8. How do I add plus 2? Mentally, quickly, what do I do? Probably should have, that's okay. Yeah, I think some of you are still going to your number line. So we're going to do this one kind of quickly. When I add 2, I should end up at 8 3/8. Because I just added 2 wholes, right? Yeah, you know, I don't think I can delete this 0. I thought it would give me some for the open number line, and it's not. So I'm just going to ignore it. Okay, so now I want you to do, how would I do 6 3/8 plus 1 7/8? And I'm not writing, notice I've written it going across this way, because I want kids to mentally think about these numbers. So I have 6 3/8. How can I use what I just did to help me figure out plus 1 7/8? What can I do? Can somebody pop in and just write in the chat what they think I should do mentally? What can I do? How can I use what I just did to help me figure out what 6 3/8 plus 1 7/8 is? Nice. Okay. So I'm trying. Oh, okay. You were adding over yours. 6 3/8. Not quite. Let me see. Take a look at this. Yes, thank you. Subtract 1/8. So let's do this. I knew that when I added 2, I got to 8 3/8. But 1 7/8 is 1/8 less than 2. So I'm just going to jump back 1/8. And I will be at 8 2/8. Does that make sense? So mentally, I can solve this mentally. I can say, well, when I added 2, I got to 8 3/8. But 1 7/8 is 1/8 smaller than 2. So I just go back 1/8. Now, using that concept, try this. What is 10 4/6 plus 4? So here's 10 4/6, and I want to add 4. Where will I end up? Good, 14 4/6. Okay, now using that same concept, how would I add mentally or quickly 10 4/6 plus 3 5/6? Oh. Here's my 10 4/6. I know that when I add 4, I ended up at 14 4/6. Good, subtract 1/6. I just need to go back 1/6. There are some fraction number lines, but it's probably got a little bit too much information in them for these. Yes. Okay, so now solve one problem without a helper problem. Now how would I do 14 3/10 plus 6 9/10? How would I use what I have, what I've been doing? Here's 14 3/10. How would I add 6 9/10? Sorry if you can't read that. Six 9/10. What should I add to make it easy? Add 7. Good. Oh, didn't grab my marker. Add 7. And then take away 1/10. Nice job. Okay, so there are other, as I'm looking at my number lines, the other sub pages you do have a basic number line, and you can change the ranges depending on if you want to get into negative numbers, positive numbers. You can also change it to decimals, changing your ranges. You can also change it to fractions, and you can change your denominators, as well as changing the numbers. Okay, let's, I just looked at the time. I want to do one more activity with you using snap cubes or linking cubes. Okay. I want us to do ratios with linking cubes. So I want to think about how you would model the ratio using your linking cubes of 5 to 2. How could you model that using your linking cubes? 5 to 2. And as you're getting to that, your linking cubes can be done vertically or horizontally. Okay, we can write ratios using our colon. We can write them as a fraction. We could write them with words. But if I'm modeling 5 to 2, I would do 5 of one color, and then 2 of another. Okay, and this is the ratio, 5 to 2. Okay, so I'm going to give you a problem, and I want you to set it up using your linking cubes or your snap cubes. And then we're going to think about how we can change those ratios, how we can look at them different ways. I think linking cubes are a great visual for ratios. So a recipe for pancakes calls for 3 cups of flour and 1 cup of milk. So model that ratio first. And then how would I double that recipe or triple that? How would I show that? So a recipe for pancakes calls for 3 cups of flour and 1 cup of milk. How would I double it? How would I triple it? And as you're, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Aurora. There's the code. And as you're building that, I'm also going to show you down at the bottom on the subpages that here is a graph that after you've built yours, you can easily move it over to the graph so kids can see what's happening to the numbers. So here's my 3 cups of flour to 1 cup of milk. And here's where I doubled it, 6 cups of flour to 2 cups of milk. And here's where I tripled it. But I want to show you one other thing that you can do with that. I can click this little number and it's going to show me not only 3 to 1, 6 to 2, 9 to 3, but it's also going to show me what's happening with the totals. 4, then 8, then 12. And we can actually graph those and look to see if they're proportional or not. So let's see what some people have. Nice. So here's 3 to 1, 6 to 2. Nice. Okay. And Cynthia. So let me show you one other place that I want you to go. Okay. Oh, and she put in her numbers. So 3 to 1, 6 to 2, 9 to 3. Okay. So 4, 8, 12. Let me show you one other spot. So once you've built your ratios and you've doubled them and tripled them, you can actually go to our XY coordinate pegboard and I can change it to a graph and I can actually plot those points. I can make this into a, all 4 quadrants if I want. Okay. And I can change it to, no, I don't want that. There we go. So I've got it as a graph. We had 3 to 1, 6 to 2, 9 to 3, and we can actually, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that one. I drug it too far. Okay. Well, sorry guys. There's a way to, there we go. There we go. So as I'm doing this, As I'm doing this, I can look to see what do we notice about these points? What do we notice about that? If you accidentally move away from your page, you can retrieve it if you've saved it. If you saved it into your, if you've made a share code, okay, that's the only way to go back and save it. Irma, what I like to do is keep one open that I'm sharing with the kids stuff and keep another window open for me. All right, what do you notice about these points? What happened? They're in a straight line, they're linear. So I can actually continue that and we can show proportionality. So if it goes through the origin, it's also proportional. So as you're working with your, ratios, you can plot them on this coordinate grid. You can stick to just the one quadrant, or you can do all 4 quadrants. You can do just the points, or you can do a grid. Okay. You can also click this table and it will give you those points that you've plotted in XY. Okay. So nice. Okay, I'm going to go back to here. Okay. I know we did a lot. I looked at my time. I was like, oh my gosh, an hour and a half's already gone by. So I need to know, I know you probably still have questions, and that's okay. I need to know if there are any questions that we can answer right now about Braining Camp or about what you've practiced tonight. I hope that you've moved to a more comfortable number. Some of you put a 0 or a 1, so now that you've played with it, I hope that you'll be able to explore a little bit more, dive in. I'm gonna suggest that you think about what you want to teach using manipulatives and Google it. Just Google it. How do I teach this using manipulatives? Because somebody somewhere has done that, okay? And then try it. You're not going to hurt Braining Camp. You're not going to crash the program. And you know what? If what you just did didn't work, clear the board and try again. Okay, so we want you to dive in. That's going to be the best way for you to experience it. And if you have questions about materials, about some of the manipulatives that we used, about Braining Camp, I put Nathan's information up here so you can contact him. Ryan has put some fabulous resources on your page for information about Braining Camp and how to work it using your Google Classroom and in your Clever and all that. Okay, so I know we did a lot. Is your brain full? So he put the link in the chat. Oh, good. Somebody's already played on the ideas page, and it is full of great ideas. So for those of you that forgot how to get that, as soon as you go to Braining Camp over on the left-hand side, you'll see videos and ideas. Oh, you're very welcome. Okay, any questions for us? Everybody's head still spinning? You still working?
It's been a long
Just
day.
really quick, in case I missed anybody earlier, there's the time card information. Don't forget to get that submitted. I think they are due tomorrow, so please get that in as soon as you can.